Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spill the Pea. This week, we're getting into Parsha Bo. So, of course, first we're going to start with the pshat, the summary, so that you know what's going on in the story. And then we're going to get to the deeper meaning. So, just a reminder, we're in the middle of the plagues. And Hashem says to Moshe, "Come to Pharaoh, because I made his heart stubborn, and also the hearts of his servants are stubborn. So I'm going to show these signs so that you can tell your sons and your sons' sons that I made a mockery of Egypt, and you will know that I am Hashem." So Moshe and Aaron go back to Pharaoh, and they told him, "Hashem, God of the Hebrews, is wondering when you're going to start being humble and send out his people so that we can go serve him." And Hashem says, "If you refuse to send us, he will send a locust swarm to your border. And it's going to cover the entire surface of the earth, and no one will be able to see. And it's going to consume whatever was left over from the hail. And it's also going to consume all the trees that are there. The locusts are going to fill your houses and your servants' houses and all the houses in Egypt, like nothing you or your fathers or your grandfathers have ever seen." So then Pharaoh's servants say to him, "How long are you going to make us suffer? Send them out so that they can serve Hashem their God. Don't you see that Egypt is lost?" So Moshe and Aaron came back to Hashem, and Pharaoh said to them, "Go and serve Hashem your God, but which one of you are going to be going?" So Moshe is like, "The young and the old, the sons and the daughters are flocking our cattle. Everybody, because it's a festival for Hashem." So Pharaoh was like, "So you're going to be with Hashem and you're going to take everybody and everything with you? Evil intent is opposite your faces. No way that's happening. The men are free to go and serve Hashem, and that's it." And Pharaoh drove them away. So Hashem told Moshe to stretch out his hand over the land of Egypt, because the locust swarm was going to ascend upon the whole land and eat all of the grass and everything that was left there in Egypt. So, of course, Moshe did it, and Hashem guided an east wind through all of the land for a full day and night. And in the morning, the east wind was carrying the locust swarms, and it ascended over the entire land of Egypt, and the whole place was covered severely. And everything was dark, and the locusts ate all of the grass and all of the fruit, and there was absolutely no greenery left in the entire land of Egypt. So Pharaoh quickly called Moshe and Aaron, and he's like, "Oh, I've sinned to your Hashem, your God, and you. Please forgive my sins just this one time, and pray to Hashem, your God, that he will remove from me only this death." So, of course, after praying, Hashem turns back a powerful wind from the west, and it carries all the locust swarms towards the Tree of Seeds. And not a single locust remained in the entire land of Egypt. But again, Hashem strengthened Pharaoh's heart, and he didn't send out the children of Israel. So Hashem says to Moshe, "Stretch forth your hand towards the heaven, and there will be darkness upon the land of Egypt, and the darkness will be tangible." So Moshe did it, and of course, a thick darkness covered the land of Egypt for 3 full days. But for all of the children of Israel, there was light in their dwellings. So then we go through the whole Pharaoh calling Moshe, and he's saying, "Okay, well, go serve Hashem, but you can take your kids, but you're going to have to leave your flock and your cattle." So Moshe says to Pharaoh, "Even you will place in your hands feast offerings and elevation offerings, and we will offer them to Hashem our God. And our livestock will go with us. Not a hoof will be left. From it we will take to serve Hashem, and we won't know with what to serve him until we're there." So, of course, Hashem then strengthened Pharaoh's heart, and he didn't let the people go. And Pharaoh said, "Go from me, Beware, do not see my face anymore, for on the day that you see my face, you will die. So Moshe is like, you've spoken correctly. I shall never see your face again. So Hashem speaks to Moshe and he says, I have one more plague for Pharaoh and Egypt. After he will send you forth, this time it will be complete and he will drive you out of here. Speak in the ears of the people. Let each man request from their fellow silver and gold vessels. Hashem granted the people favor in the eyes of Egypt, and also Moshe was great in the land of Egypt and in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants and in the eyes of the people. So then Moshe says, so says Hashem, at about midnight, I'm going to go in the midst of Egypt, and every firstborn in the land of Egypt will die. From the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on the throne to the firstborn of the maidservant who's behind the millstone and the firstborn of beasts. There's going to be an outcry in all of Egypt like there's never been before. But against the children of Israel, no dog will wet its tongue, against neither man nor beast, so that you will know that Hashem differentiates between Egypt and Israel. And your servants will come bow to me and tell me to leave, and also the people that follow me. And after that, I'm going to leave. And Moshe left Pharaoh's presence, and he was pissed. So Hashem told Moshe that Pharaoh, of course, wasn't going to listen to him and that his wonders would be multiplied. So Moshe and Aaron present the wonders, but Hashem strengthened Pharaoh's heart, and he didn't send the children of Israel out of the land. Hashem then says to Moshe and Aaron in the land of Egypt, this month will be the beginning of the months, and it will be for you the first month of the year. Tell the entirety of Israel that on the 10th of this month, they'll take an unblemished lamb or a kid for the house. A male within its first year from the sheep or the goats you will take. It will be yours for the examination until the 14th day of the month. The entire congregation of Israel will slaughter. They will take the blood and place it on the 2 doorposts of the houses where they eat. They will eat the flesh at night. They'll roast it over fire, and they will have matzah with bitter herbs. You will not eat it partially roasted or cooked in water, only roasted over fire, its head, its legs, and innards. You won't leave any of it until morning. Any of it left until the morning needs to be burned in the fire. You will eat it in haste, your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hands, and it will be a Pesach offering to me. I'm going to go through the land of Egypt at night and strike all of the firstborn in Egypt. The blood will be a sign on the houses where you are, and I'll see the blood, pass over you, and not bring to you the plague of destruction. This day will be a remembrance for you, and you will celebrate it as a festival for Hashem for your generations. For 7 days, you're going to eat matzah, but the day before, you will clean all of the leaven from your homes, because anyone who eats leavened food will be cut off from Israel from the 1st to the 7th day. The first day will be as holy as the 7th. No work can be done on either. You're going to safeguard the matzah for this day, and I will take you out of Egypt. You're going to observe this day for your generations as an eternal decree, and whoever eats leavening will be cut off from Israel, whether a convert or a native. So Moshe calls all the elders of Israel, and he tells them to grab one of the flock and slaughter the Pesach offering. He told them to get hyssop and dip it in the blood that was in the basin and touch it to the 2 doorposts, and that no man should leave until morning. He told them that Hashem was going to pass through, smite Egypt, and when Hashem saw the blood on their doorposts, he would pass over the entrance and spare them, and that it's going to be a decree that will be observed for them and their children forever. He told them that even when they come to the land that Hashem will give them, the decree will be observed. And when their children asks, what's going on here? Why are we doing this? You're to say that this is a Pesach offering to Hashem, who passed over the children of Israel when he smote the Egyptians. And the people bowed and they prostrated themselves, and they did what Hashem commanded Moshe and Aaron. And at midnight, Hashem smote every firstborn in Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh on his throne to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and the firstborn of the animals. Pharaoh rose up at midnight, and the servants and all of Egypt. From them there was an outcry, because there was no house in Egypt where there wasn't the corpse or the remains of a firstborn son. So Pharaoh calls to Moshe and Aaron at night, and he told them to rise up, go out, take them and all the children of Israel, and to go serve Hashem, to take the sheep and the cattle, everything, just get out. But before you go, as you're leaving, make sure you give me a blessing. And it says, Egypt imposed itself strongly on the people to send them out. And the people said, we are all dying. So the children of Israel grabbed their dough before it could rise, and grabbed all their leftovers, and they left, and they carried out the words of Moshe. So they journeyed through Ramesses and Sukkot. It was about 600,000 men on foot, not including the children. And a mixed multitude went up with them, and also the flock and the cattle and a lot of livestock. They baked the dough, so they had unleavened cakes. The habitation of the children of Israel during the time in which they were in Egypt was a total of 430 years. It's a night of anticipation for Hashem to take them out of the land of Egypt. This was the night for Hashem, a protection for all of the children of Israel for their generations. So Hashem says to Moshe and Aaron, the decree of the Pesach offering is that no alienated person may eat from it. A sojourner and hired laborer cannot eat. In one house it will be eaten, and it can't be taken from one house outside. The entire assembly of Israel will perform it, and all of the children of Israel did as Hashem commanded Moshe and Aaron. So then Hashem spoke to Moshe, saying, sanctify to me every firstborn, the first issue of every womb, and among the children of Israel, of man and beast, is mine. So Moshe told the people, remember this day on which you departed from Egypt, from the house of bondage. For with a strong hand God removed you from here, and therefore chametz may not be eaten. Today you're leaving in a month in springtime, and it will come to pass that when Hashem brings you to the land he swore to your forefathers, a land of milk and honey, you will perform this service in this month. And you're going to tell your sons that it's because Hashem acted on our behalf when we left Egypt, and Hashem's Torah may be in our mouth. And we will redeem every firstborn among our sons. And when your sons ask, what is this? Again, you say that Hashem, with a strong hand, removed us from the house of bondage. And it happened when Pharaoh stubbornly refused to send us out, and Hashem killed all of their firstborn. So we offer Hashem the first issue of the womb. And this is where Bo ends. So we go back to the beginning, and we've continually had Hashem saying, I will make Pharaoh's heart stubborn. I will harden Pharaoh's heart. Is he actually hardening a heart, or is he just showing you how persistent and consistent he is in trying to connect with you? He's showing you just how far he's willing to go to prove his love for you. The Creator doesn't have to do anything. However, we are fickle. And fortunately, he loves to give. Unfortunately, we are the ones with feelings of unworthiness or shame or undeservingness, and that makes us unable and unwilling to receive. If we notice this whole time, Pharaoh just wanted to keep the children of Israel so that they could continue to give to him. so that he could continue taking from them. But he's not giving anything in return. Pharaoh is a taker. When you are a taker, it comes from a lack of trust and a lack of relationship with your creator. But it's also a lack state of mind. When you don't feel that you're worthy, you always feel that you have to do or to be or to try or to show off or to have something so that you feel worthy. But this is an endless cycle. Takers don't trust the creator, they trust control. And we notice that Pharaoh never gets happier from all of his taking and manipulating and lying. He only gets more and more and more emotional, angry, impatient. And then he accuses Moshe of evil intent. Have you ever been in such an emotional wave, in denial, not acknowledging other people's feelings or respecting them? And then instead of taking responsibility for yourself, you choose to point the finger and blame them? So now we have the locusts. They came from the east, and locusts completely strip you of everything you are. They change you into someone that you've never been before because you're so attached to your limited and constricted consciousness. The Creator sends them via the east, chesed, giving, and he takes them via the west, gvura, discipline. So Pharaoh does what Pharaoh does best, and he doesn't let the children go. And then we get to the darkness. In darkness, most people feel lost. In darkness, most people focus on their limitations and what they aren't or what they don't have. And this focus creates a cycle of the same thoughts and feeling more darkness. Egypt collapses in darkness. Israel remembers light. That's the difference between cycling trauma or stepping into faith. So we fast forward a bit, and Hashem is explaining to Moshe about the last plague, the death of all of the firstborn sons. So then Moshe goes to Pharaoh and he tells him exactly what's going to happen. And I believe this is the first time we've seen Moshe express any sort of frustration. After he told Pharaoh, he was enraged, full of fire. He didn't get upset because Pharaoh told him something that he didn't like. He wasn't upset because Pharaoh did something that he didn't like. Anger, fire, rage, like most other emotions, can come from one of two places: lack or abundance. When you feel these emotions from a place of lack, you're reactive, you're spiteful, you behave like Pharaoh, continuing to dig yourself deeper into a hole just because you don't want to take accountability for your role in a situation. We all have free will. We can all choose to be misaligned, hard-hearted, and hard-headed. When you feel the same anger, fire, and rage from abundance, it's now coming from a sacred place. Moshe knew that Pharaoh was capable of being better. Moshe knew that Pharaoh could have chosen to give kindness, compassion, forgiveness even, but Pharaoh didn't. And Moshe's rage was not reactive. He felt anger and he walked away because Moshe is not the judge. The Creator has the final say in everything. And sometimes, arguably most of the time, we don't understand what the logic is, but it's not our job to. We often find ourselves in situations where we feel that we've been wronged. And in these moments, we need to choose to trust the Creator. Revenge can feel wonderful in a moment. And at the same time, if you put out energy that's coming from a negative, reactive place of lack for any reason, divine balance will find a way to bring it back to you in this lifetime or the next. Do not mistakenly make an idol out of your anger. So then the Creator begins to explain everything about Pesach, Passover. Now, the blood on the door is kind of a big deal, but why? The blood symbolizes the body. When we choose to be Hineni, we are actively choosing that our body will be a vessel or a sacrifice for the will and the light of the Creator. Obviously, we're humans and we migrate between Yosef and Israel most of the time, However, the more we consciously choose Israel, the more we are choosing to sacrifice our bodies for the sake of the Creator's light. The Creator already knew who the Hebrews were. He didn't need them to put blood on their doorposts so that he knew who to protect and who not to protect. We saw that he already knew from the other plagues. This is active choice. It's stepping forward in free will. This is the option that the Creator gives us in each moment. Will you choose to be a vessel for light and sacrifice your human and physical tendencies? Or do you choose yourself and your comfort and your limitation? Now, why the firstborn son? Now, the masculine is representative of physical action, and the feminine is thought and emotion. So we've gotten through the 10 plagues, which represent different levels of our emotions. And after we go through all of these emotions, waves, cycles of feeling, we take action. So killing the firstborn son is like sacrificing your instinctual action that comes after fluctuating emotions. That's why we also get the language of the womb. The feminine is where things are conceived, emotion, intention, inner world. The masculine is where it becomes action. What you do comes from what you gestate or incubate. So now there comes the part where it says that Egypt imposed itself on the people strongly, and the people said, "We are dying. We are all dying." This isn't physical death, it's ego death. The ego is the death of the body. And ego death can be one of the most painful things that anyone experiences. It can feel like torture. And it only feels like that because in this world we are physical by nature and our bodies have become habitual because habits mean control. And when we don't have habits or control, energy and anxiety build up in our bodies, and sometimes we don't know what to do with that energy. So when we choose to connect to the Creator, choose to sacrifice or forego our physical habits, reactions, and control, it can feel like death. And a physical part of you does die. But each death is an opening, ruach, a space for your soul, more of the Creator's light to enter. And then they begin leaving Egypt, and Moshe explains the rules for Pesach and that it needs to be done every year, and so on and so forth. So one of the biggest themes throughout the whole of Bo is persistence and patience. It's also in Va'era. Here, it's like you're in the last stretch and you know what your goal is, and you've seen it getting closer and closer, but obstacles keep popping up along the way. Patience allows you to be persistent, persistent in trust, persistent in action, persistent in knowing that the Creator would never guide you down an empty path. Also, it's proving to us just how much the Creator goes out of his way to prove his desire for us. Time after time, he kept fighting. He kept increasing the intensity of what he was willing to do for us. He kept giving Pharaoh chances. He continued to give Pharaoh the free will to choose to connect and behave in a way of light. The Creator consistently knocks at your door, asks you to connect to him. He's patiently asking, patiently waiting, but he never stops showing up and he never stops asking. We see this with Pharaoh. How often do you allow your comfort and your ego to make you hard-hearted so that you don't have to choose the Creator? Free will is difficult because free will means accountability and free will means responsibility. And most people think that free will means that there is a good or a bad choice to make. But we need to change our perspective because free will is not choosing good or bad. It's choosing ego or alignment. Free will was never meant to be easy. However, we did ask for it. It's exactly what Adam and Chava couldn't resist. They thought that they wanted the ability to choose like the Creator. What they misunderstood, and what most of us misunderstand, is that we've always had the choice. Adam and Chava chose to eat from the tree of knowledge. The choice was always there. What changes is the pressure of accountability and responsibility. When we make a choice, we can either choose to see it from the tree of knowledge, that it's our responsibility, and whatever happens is because of us. This is ego. Or we can choose to see it from the tree of life. The choice that I'm making is in alignment with the Creator, and He knows what He's doing. Therefore, I am accountable in my choice. However, whatever is going on, the bigger part of the plan is on Him. This is co-creation. This is the meaning of leaving Mitzrayim. This is leaving Egypt, choosing to align with the Creator, even when your body is kicking and screaming. Alignment is choice. You choose it every moment of every day. And at first, it can be difficult depending on how long you've been stuck in Egypt. However, if you remain persistent and patient and emotionally regulated as Moshe, it becomes easier as you go along the way. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.